Hi guys, how are you today? Ready for new stories Ask a Lawyer prepared for you? Today I have 3. Let's go to the first one, about OP's horrible sister who wants to steal the name OP chose for her newborn. Listen till the end to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Some backstory. My sister Kate, 40, is the daughter of my stepfather. My mother married my stepfather when she was 17 and had my sister. They separated, and Mom was single for a couple years. Then she met my father, and they had me, 28. My father died, and my mom was single again. Few years pass, Mom gets back together with my sister's father. Kate and stepdad were always very distant with me. They always didn't like the fact that my existence reminded them of a time that stepdad and Mom weren't together, and things only worsened after our mother's death. Now, Kate has had difficulties getting pregnant due to the quality of her eggs. After trying naturally for a while, Kate and her husband decided to see a specialist, and they started treatment. Last year, she was told she had 2 viable eggs left after several failed tries, and that she should consider asking for egg donation from a family member or friend, since they couldn't afford to buy some instead. Kate then invited me for dinner one evening and asked if I would donate if her eggs didn't take. I told her I would consider. But before I left that evening, I reminded her that I was black, and that my eggs would produce a black child, and whether they were ready or prepared as a white couple to raise a black child. 2 days later, she called me to say that I don't need to think about donating my eggs to her, and life moved on. She tried IVF one more time with her 2 remaining eggs and got lucky. My sister is now nearly 7 months pregnant. Now, I am also pregnant, and I am 4 months along. Didn't plan to and took precautions, but you know life, it always finds a way. I decided to continue with the pregnancy, and my fiancé and I are very happy. When I told Kate that I was pregnant, she accused me of stealing her moment and that I was selfish. My stepfather also accused me of intentionally getting pregnant to make everything about myself. After some time, things cooled down and Kate started to talk to me again. Now, for the past few weeks, I've been fixing up my baby's room, and Kate came over to visit. She then started asking me about baby names, and I told her the name I intended to give my child. Just to be clear, she had never even heard of the name before. Kate called me Sunday to say she really liked the uniqueness of the name and that she intends to name her child it. This rubbed me the wrong way, but I didn't say anything. She then said, "You know you can't name your baby that, right?" I told her no, I didn't know that. I told her that I will be naming my child this name because it holds cultural significance to mine and my partner's heritage, and simply because I want to, and that she's free to name her child whatever she likes. I just won't be picking a new name. For the last 48 hours, I have had at least 100+ calls and several hundreds of texts from my sister, stepfather, brother-in-law, and even my sister's mother-in-law, telling me how I am an ass who wants to just always ruin my sister's joy or moment. I have ignored them all. My stepfather just texted me saying he will be over tomorrow to straighten me out, whatever that means. I'm here to vent and maybe get some good advice. To answer the question why I am even entertaining these people. Because I do love my sister as much as I dislike her, and for good or bad, she is the only link I have to my mother. Also, I don't just stop being her sister just because our mom died. And before our mom died, she asked us to never let each other go, and I have tried to honor that. But unfortunately, my sister is a terrible sister who is enabled in her nonsense by my stepfather. I slowly distanced myself from her and beloved stepdad and kept a very Chad-like relationship with them. She reached out to me and tried to mend things, but here we are. I had hoped that maybe our pregnancies could maybe, just maybe, open up the potential for us to try again with each other, but sadly, this doesn't seem to be the case. I guess it's back to being Chad-like until she moves on again. In life, some people you fight and they back off. With some people you fight and it draws them in more. The best thing I can do is be indifferent because that really ducks with her. I think OP should just cut them out of her life and be done with them. That way, she wouldn't need to worry about their negativity and toxicity anymore, nor would she need to worry about the sister using the same name because she wouldn't have anything to do with that part of the family anymore. Sister sounds like someone who constantly needs to be the center of attention, and her side of the family sounds like people who made her be that way. OP should stand firm. She should give her baby the name she chose, and that should be the end of discussion. So here's the story. Buckle in, it's long. Throwaway, because some of her family lives on Reddit and will probably see this. If you think this song is about you. A few weeks before Easter, my wife started not feeling well. Just breathless and really tired all the time. She went in for some blood work and they discovered she was in heart failure. It went real critical real fast. We never even celebrated Easter. My kid's Easter basket, full of Dora the Explorer toys and candy, is still hidden in the bottom of my closet. We went from nothing's wrong, maybe a mild flu that she can't shake, to the ER at our local hospital, transferred to the city hospital, and being told that we need to get her on the heart transplant list ASAP. After a month at the city hospital, with me driving an hour there and back with our kid to visit her daily, her family had not bothered to come visit her once. They lived about 30-ish minutes away from the city hospital. I should stop here and mention that my wife and I are better off financially than the rest of her immediate family. I am fully aware of this because I had a wealthy family, good education, and a great job that lets me work flexible hours and do extra jobs on the side. Her family, mother 60s, brother 32, and sister 34, aren't as well off. Mother works at Walmart and makes ends meet. Brother has a decent job, but just in general has trouble keeping his stuff together, but he tries. Sister is a stay-at-home mom. They budget well, but don't have a lot of disposable income. In the past, I have been the safety net for her family. Brother's car breaks down. We've paid to fix it. Sister has a health issue. We've paid her medical bills. We've even done some family vacations where we paid for the rental property on the beach and groceries. We never demand repayment, although we accept it when or if they do. And my attitude has always been, money is just a thing, but family is important. Maybe I felt this way because I didn't have any family left. That said, I always thought we'd be paid back emotionally, if that makes sense. I thought they'd be there for us when we needed it. When my wife first went to the hospital, I dropped my kids off at my mother's house in order to visit with wife. Mother insisted I didn't need to pay her for babysitting. But after the first week, when it became apparent that my wife wasn't getting better quickly, and this was a long-term situation, I felt bad just dumping my kid off, and instead kept her with me when I visited. The first few weeks, I didn't think anything of the fact that her family didn't come visit, even though they lived a little closer to the city hospital. Mother, sister, brother all work, brother with odd hours, and none of them have the best cars, or money for parking, etc. Then things got progressively worse. My wife's other organs started failing. We had to speak to palliative care, which freaked me the duck out. Eventually, the city hospital said they couldn't take care of my wife and gave her a rare operation, and we'd be transferred to a major hospital 250 plus miles away. I called her family and basically said, if you want to see her before she's transferred, and maybe before she literally dies, come on. They did come that day and stayed with her for several hours. I felt like a tool because it was clear that the mother was upset and kind of freaked out and didn't know how to deal with the idea that her daughter was so sick. But also, just for clarification, it had been a month at that point, and this was the first time they'd visited her in the hospital. After that, wife was transferred by ambulance to the major hospital. She spends another few weeks in ICU there while they get her health up to as good as possible before the first major surgery. Me and the kid are living in a trashy motel. We are okay financially, but we can't afford weeks and months at a nice hotel. I'm feeding my kid nuggets out of the motel microwave and dealing with daily visits at the hospital in a city we aren't used to. It was stressful as duck, guys. Not just seeing my wife, who's only 35 years old, suddenly take a nosedive in health for a rare condition we didn't know she had, but also being the sole provider for my kid and worrying about her mental health as she sees her mom dying. I was torn on how much to let my kid see versus how much to let my wife see my kid. I started taking pictures and thinking about which ones would be the last family pictures we had together. I talked to the hospital's child psychologist for my kid. And also, I did a lot of freelance work because I knew these bills were coming. My days were wake up before the kid, sneak out of the motel bed, work, kid wakes up, get her dressed, go to the hospital, come back to the motel, try to find a way to make my kid's day bright and not depressing as duck, get kid to bed, work until I pass out. Look, guys, I don't want pity or to come off as a whiner, but I was dealing with a lot of this. I had no help. My family is either dead or living in a different state. All our friends are in our hometown, not the major hospital city. All my wife's family, not just the mother, brother, and sister, but also the aunts, uncles, etc., live in about the same area. And yeah, that's a 3 to 4 hour drive from the major city hospital, but at most 45 minutes from the first city hospital. And the only one who's visited her there were the mother, brother, and sister. And that was only after I basically begged them to come see her. No one, not one damn person visited her at the major city hospital. Not before the first risky surgery, not in the full month of recovery after it. Not one damn person. She's been in hospitals for about 3 months now. She spent most of that time in ICU. She's had 3 open heart surgeries and is coming home with implants and drugs and basically a whole new handicapped life. And her family doesn't give a crap. After she had the last surgery, she mentioned in a very quiet voice, sad voice, "Do you think anyone else is going to come up and visit me?" My heart ducking broke. As soon as I left her room, I texted her whole family, all of them, not just her immediate family. I offered my wife's car for them to drive. I offered money for gas and food. I offered to pay for them to stay overnight at the hotel. The mother and brother both said they'd come up, just needed to get time off work. Spoiler, they never came. The sister said that she was planning to come in a few weeks. Spoiler, that was last week, and she didn't come. They all had excuses. But just for clarification, 3 months in the hospital, 1 visit after I guilted and begged, and only because it was at the closer hospital. As for the rest of the extended family, I also sent them all the information on this program the major city hospital does, where you can basically send an email to the hospital and they print it up and make it look like a card. Literally as simple as a ducking email. And guess how many of them did it? 1 cousin. The 1 member of the extended family that lives on the opposite side of the country. No one else could even be arsed enough to send a ducking get well soon email. Meanwhile, my friends called and offered help. I had one friend drive 2 hours to spend a day with my kid so she could have a break. College buddies I've not seen in years saw my Facebook post and sent me $100 gift cards or gift cards to meal delivery and stuff. I say this because A, it's not like I was being secret about how grave the situation was, and B, any normal human being could see this is one of those situations where we need help. And while yes, the money helped, what we really needed was ducking emotional support or something. Now, before it sounds like we're in a Victor Hugo novel, I should say that her family has a Facebook Messenger chat thing, and they did keep up with her there. So I guess I can't say they didn't care, but I don't know. Am I being an a-hole about this? I realize they have jobs that aren't as flexible as mine, but 3 months, major surgeries, she nearly ducking died, and they didn't come visit. They didn't even send a ducking email. And I saw the way she was hurt. I saw the hope fade from her eyes when she thought her mom was coming, and then she didn't. And I saw my kid dragged from hospital to motel and back again because I didn't have any help with her in the other city. Wife's sister was going to bring her kids up so that my kid could spend some time with them at the motel pool and she could visit with my wife. My kid cried when she found out her cousins weren't coming. It was the only thing she had to look forward to literally this whole summer. One day where she could have fun, and my wife's sister didn't come. I always thought to myself that it didn't matter if I loaned out money or whatever to my wife's family because I could always count on them to be there for us when we needed it. We needed it. And they weren't there. And now I don't know how to react or deal with them because every time I think of them, I'm filled with rage and resentment. But my kid loves them, and my wife loves them, and they're more important in this situation. I'm ready to salt the earth with these duck-ups, but my wife is recovering from a major illness, and it's not like she needs drama. And I don't have family left on my side, and don't want my kid to be alone. So, what should I do? I can swallow my own emotions and play nice around her family. Now that my wife is coming home soon, they all want to visit, on their sweet time, at our house. Basically, now that it's not inconvenient anymore. And she's happy, so I'm not saying anything. I know she's hurt by the way they didn't bother with her, but I don't feel like it's my place to put it into words. Your family is crap, and they just proved it. So I guess I'm at a point where I feel like I just have to grin and bear it. Maybe in the future, I'll excuse myself from being around them. I know I'm not going to be there financially for them unless it's a life or death situation. But is there a better way to act or something else I should do? Should I bring this up to my wife? Ever? I understand it is hard, but I think OP should say nothing because of his wife's health condition. Heart patients can't handle stress, so OP should create as stress-free of an environment for his wife as possible. She understands everything herself, and I'm sure this is heartbreaking for her. So OP doesn't need to remind that to her and put salt on the wound. Also, OP should not say bad things about the family in front of the kid. I think OP should now be aware that they will never get any support from them and should also stop supporting them himself. I love my sister, Leanne, very much. We have a pretty close relationship in that she comes to me for advice whenever she's worried, which I am more than happy to help her with. So when she called me crying at 2 a.m. last night, it concerned me very much. At first, I thought something awful had happened to her regarding her pregnancy, 8 months. Then, when she told me she had kicked brother-in-law out, I thought it was him cheating on her or something like that. But no, it was something much worse. Apparently, boyfriend has been acting a little shady and just not being himself lately, which she had told me about because she was concerned about him. I told her it was probably him worried about the pregnancy. Well, apparently, the reason is because he wants to open up the relationship. Major scumbag move, especially as she's so close to giving birth. I told her that it was a major red flag that this is what he wants, and he chooses this time when the world has gone to crap and she is so vulnerable that anything can go wrong with her pregnancy, that it was a total jerk move and that she's lucky she showed his true colors before they got married. We spoke on the phone for about 2 hours until she calmed down and went to sleep. When I told my husband what had happened, he agreed that he was an a-hole, but I shouldn't involve myself in my sister's business, as she's a grown woman who can handle herself. And that there are some cultural differences between us and boyfriend that we should let them work out the nuances of their relationship themselves. I don't completely agree with him, but I can see where he is coming from. So I'm asking you, what's the best way to support my sister and protect her from this creep? Update. I had a talk with my husband, who's since apologized. He can be a little cold when he doesn't get his sleep, and that's something we're working on. We have decided that my sister can move in with us until she gets back on her own feet, and like many of you have suggested, we have made an appointment with her aunt, who is an OBGYN. I think OP needs to be on her sister's side. She needs OP's support right now. This is a huge, massive red flag. Thank goodness they're not married yet. I'm sure OP's husband isn't going to be the only one who wants them to deal with it themselves because it's going to get messy.